Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the second episode of Let's Talk About the Presidents. We just did George Washington. We're going to do Mr. John Adams. John Adams was born, the first John Adams, was born October 30th. That's Halloween. Oh, that's the day before Halloween. October 30th, 1735. So he's 2 years behind, 2.5 years behind Mr. Washington. In Braintree, now Quincy, Massachusetts. He died on Independence Day, 1826. His nicknames included the Atlas of Independence, Architect of the Revolution, Colossus of Debate, Colossus of Independence, his rotundity, Duke of Braintree. He's a Unitarian, which that's a questionable church affiliation, honestly. His higher education was Harvard College, 1755. His profession was a schoolmaster, lawyer, and no military service, but he's considered the founder of the U.S. Navy. His father was John Adams, so this will be John Adams Jr. His mother was Susanna Boylston Adams. His wife, we all know, we've heard of her before, Abigail Adams, Abigail Smith Adams. His children included Abigail Amelia Adams, John Quincy Adams, who is the sixth president of the United States, Susanna Adams, Charles Adams, Thomas Boylston Adams. Political life includes Massachusetts delegate to the Continental Congress for 3 years, commissioner to France, 1778, prime minister, now called ambassador to the Netherlands, minister or ambassador to England, 1785. He was vice president under Mr. Washington from 1789 to 1797. His presidency was only one term, which began on March 4th, 1797, and ended on that anniversary, 1801. He was a Federalist. He lost the election of 1800 to Thomas Jefferson. His vice president was also Thomas Jefferson. The election in 1796, the electoral votes, Adams 71, Jefferson 68. So that's what? 8, 9, 10, 11, 3 votes. A 3-vote difference. No popular vote. John Adams' cabinet included Timothy Pickering, John Marshall, both of them served as Secretary of State, Oliver Wolcott Jr. and Samuel Dexter served as Secretary of the Treasury. James McHenry and Samuel Dexter served as Secretary of War, now called Secretary of Defense. His Attorney General was Charles Lee, Secretary of the Navy Benjamin Stoddard, and Postmaster General was Joseph Haberson, same ones in Washington. We had the Stamp Act in March 1765, the Boston Massacre, 1770. Did we know that Adams was the first president to attend Harvard College? We just read that in the previous page. Adams was also the first president to live in the White House, then at that time called the Executive Mansion. But he was the first one to live in the White House. Sons of Liberty. Several groups known as the Sons of Liberty formed in the colonies, originally to protest the Stamp Act of 1765. Members organized protests against British policy that, while peaceful at first, sometimes degenerated into more violent of demonstrations. The leaders of the Boston Sons of Liberty included Samuel Adams and Paul Revere. Interesting. Adams was one of three presidents who died on the 4th of July, including Mr. Jefferson and Mr. James Monroe. The Boston Tea Party. On December 16th, 1773, members of the Sons of Liberty stealthily boarded British tea ships anchored in Boston Harbor. Angry that the British were attempting to undercut the price of smuggled tea by removing the middleman and selling the tea wholesale with a tea tax, Sons of Liberty, dressed as Indians, boarded 3 ships and tossed 45 tons of tea into the harbor rather than see it unloaded and sold. Supreme Court appointments by Mr. Adams was Bushrod Washington. I don't think is he related to George Washington? Not sure. At 1799. Alfred Morris, 1800. And Chief Justice John Marshall, 1801. Population under John Adams, population of the U.S. was 5,308,483. So that went up by, let's see, 2 million, I think. Let's see. Yep. 2,600,000. It's a lot of people. We had the Articles of Confederation. Oh, I'm sorry. 5,308,483 population. National debt in 1797, 82,064,479.33. 62 million. President's salary has not changed. It was still 25 grand a year. States admitted to the Union, none. Under John Adams. John Adams was the longest lived president at 90 years, 253 days, until Ronald Reagan broke Adams' record on October 13th, 2001. Reagan lived until June 5th, 2004. Gerald Ford broke Reagan's record on November 12th, 2006 at 93 years, 120 days, and had outlived Reagan by 45 days when he died. Mr. Ford, when Gerald Ford died on December 26th, the day after Christmas, 2006. Let me see. I think Jimmy Carter. I'm not going to share this, of course. But Jimmy Carter, I think he's in his 90s now. James Earl Carter. Oh, yeah. James Carter is now the oldest living former president at 98 years old. Wow. So James Earl Carter surpassed John Adams, Ronald Reagan, and Gerald Ford. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Okay. Articles of Confederation, yes. The XYZ affair, April 1798. Did we know Adams dismissed Secretary of State Timothy Pickering for conspiring against him with Alexander Hamilton? Pickering is the only Secretary of State to have been fired directly. That is John Adams. And I hope you enjoyed this episode, these 2 episodes of Let's Talk About the Presidents. Have a great day.